A few years ago, I heard that Bitmain was talking about me. There's like this Scott Offord guy in the United States. Who is this guy? Should they be concerned about him? Pretty exciting to have like a multi-billion-dollar company talking about me.
What a conference, man! What do you think? What's your favorite part so far?
Amazing. I mean, honestly, the only thing I've ever done this whole time we've been here is just be in the exhibit hall. There's such a wealth of knowledge there. The only speech I watched was the Trump. And that was pretty exciting. He didn't say strategic reserve, he said strategic stockpile. Cynthia Loomis followed that up and was like, let me clarify,
Got to speak to Cynthia earlier today, and that was really cool. And she, was basically said, hey, he's going to announce this, and this is what's going on.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. So Marsha Blackburn, she's also another great senator and great champion of our cause here for the Bitcoin industry and for crypto at large. Those are the people we need in office. This conference, I think, takes the cake for any of the previous ones. We've got likely the next president of the United States here to, talk about what his policy goals are for our industry. He compared our industry to, Titans, the Fords, the Thomas Edisons, the Wright brothers. This is
right.
This is one of those industries of today where we're really, we're the renegades, we're on the bleeding edge. So that was a very presidential and prescient thing for him to say. I'm here with my buddy Scott Offord. He's been in the Bitcoin mining space for a very long time. I've watched him, develop different companies and different conferences and, sell tons of machines to tons of people. He's probably one of the most well-known brokers in the space. So welcome, Scott. It's good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, no.
Deals in the past too, so.
It's exciting. So a few years ago, I heard that Bitmain was talking about me. There's like this Scott Offord guy in the United States. Who is this guy? Should they be concerned about him? Yeah. But it was pretty exciting to have like a multi-billion-dollar company talking about me. No, I'm just a small broker in the Bitcoin mining space, and I'm really excited to be here at Nashville conference.
What a conference, man! What do you think? What's your favorite part so far?
Amazing. I mean, honestly, the only thing I've ever done in this whole time we've been here is just be in the exhibit hall. There's such a wealth of knowledge there, all the different vendors and people there. So we've just been having fun, meeting new people and teaching people about the process of Bitcoin mining and helping them to understand what's involved in building a Bitcoin mining farm.
Mm-hmm. Who do you think, did you get a chance to watch any of the talks? I mean, what are your thoughts on who gave some of the best speeches? Were you just so engaged?
I was very engaged in my booth and what's going on in the exhibit hall, but the only speech I watched was the Trump, and that was pretty exciting. He didn't say strategic reserve, he said strategic stockpile. Yeah. But then Cynthia Loomis followed that up and was like, let me clarify,
Actually,
it was great.
Got to speak to Cynthia earlier today, and that was really cool. And she, was basically said, hey, he's going to announce this, and this is what's going on.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. So
it's fun.
To her and everything. And Marsha Blackburn, she's also another great senator and great champion of our cause here for the Bitcoin industry and for crypto at large, right? So for Web3 at large.
Right.
So, those are the people we need in office, leading and doing the right things, right? So it's been a really cool experience. I don't think this conference, takes the cake for any of the previous ones. I mean, I'm a little biased because I'm from Florida and I love the Miami conferences, but just you would never expect the attention on our industry, right? Like, we're in underground and Telegram groups for years, just, shooting the shits, talking, dealing and dealing behind the scene, doing all sorts of stuff, right? Discord, whatever. And now it's like, we've got likely the next president of the United States here to, talk about what his policy goals are for our industry, right? And, it's obvious he doesn't know everything about, about Bitcoin, about the industry, but he sees the potential for innovation.
He's saying the right words, and he wants it to happen in the United States, and I'd love to see that too.
In the last probably 5 to 8 minutes, I thought was very presidential. He talked about, he compared our industry to, Titans, the Fords, the Thomas Edisons, the Wright brothers. This is
right.
This is one of those industries of today where we're really, we're the renegades, we're on the bleeding edge. So I think that was a very presidential and prescient thing for him to say.
I like that word, the renegade. It really defines it.
It really does.
A little bit rebellious,
and that's part of the American culture, right? It really is. We need to get back to this. This is how this country was founded. Right? There's all this stuff about, we don't want to do this or that. It's like, this country was literally started by rebels who
Right.
renegated and rebelled from their corrupt government.
Well, and to tie into that, Bitcoin mining as well, right? It's very reminiscent of the pioneers, and the gold diggers that went out, with the gold rush.
Yeah.
And just they went against it, and they were prospecting, and so it's great. Yeah, renegade miners.
It's a good name for a company. Someone probably has it.
Well, we have a TV show that we're doing. It's a documentary style show about the Bitcoin miners and the struggles and the joys of building Bitcoin mining farms.
Yeah.
And
There's extreme highs, there's extreme lows, and you hit the nail on the head. So.
Oh yeah.
So I actually had the pleasure of meeting your Peter the other day. I mean, what a cool guy.
Yeah, no, Peter Saddington. He's one of the
Yeah.
newest partners in our company, and just recently came on. I'm really excited. So everybody knows him as the Bitcoin Lambo guy. And
It was Lambo meme. I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so he bought a Lamborghini with his Bitcoin that he bought at $2.52 back in the day. And he was mining Bitcoin on a Dell laptop back then.
That's what he was telling me yesterday.
Yeah, and then one thing led to another.
Mm-hmm.
Then he bought he raised money and built a Bitcoin mining farm. And then with the mining rewards he had from his Bitcoin farm, he bought a Mercedes Benz. And so now he's like, anyway, he loves sports cars, he loves Bitcoin, he loves mining, and now he's a part of my company.
Yeah. Well, just a really cool entrepreneur. I mean, we really jived yesterday when we spoke.
Yeah.
I mean, he really he had some great positive words for me and some encouragement. And, it's nice to talk to other entrepreneurs in the space, you included. So talk to me a little bit about Bitcoin Mining World. Tell us what you guys are working on.
Yeah. So Bitcoin Mining World is our new brand. We actually just launched it this week at the Bitcoin 2024. And before that, it was Scott's Crypto Mining. But we're like, hey, maybe if Scott's Crypto Mining could be $1 million company, we think the Bitcoin Mining World can be $1 billion company. So our goal really with that is just to be the gravitational center of the universe, of the Bitcoin mining universe. And we believe that starts with education. There's a lot of professionalization that needs to happen in this industry. Mm-hmm. And we're really just focused on producing that certification, maybe even becoming a certifying body in the industry for Bitcoin mining to really help people to avoid the mistakes that we've made and maybe get up and running mining coin faster and cheaper than we were able to do it
so many
back in the day.
Yeah, I know. It's like this, the education is trial by fire, right? You really got to learn, test, experiment.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and we've done that.
Blazing the trail, right? So just the manual, the successful manual doesn't really fully exist just yet. But companies like yours are going to help blaze that future, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, some people worry, and I get a lot of questions now. Like 2 years ago, people weren't really asking about the institutions, and the corporations, but now they're like, is mining even still feasible for the small guy?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, I think it is, because some of these larger companies aren't really even very interested in pursuing these smaller pockets of stranded power, here and there. So there's companies that are incinerating tires and burning plastic and turning that into clean energy to power Bitcoin mining, right? And you can do that on very small, hyper local areas, in any city that might have a scrapyard, right? For example. So I just think that more and more the Bitcoin miners are going to find these opportunities to go off grid and to find cheap power, clean power to help to further decentralize Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining.
Yeah, no doubt. I think we're just starting to touch the tips of what is possible and what makes sense for the energy industry at large. Stranded methane and all these little things you're describing, right? Where there's these opportunities to take a flare vent that is venting stuff directly into the atmosphere that's terrible for the atmosphere, and put a little small container there, right, and cap that off and do a clean burn. Helps the environment.
Exactly.
It solves a problem for the oil producer, and it also it creates turns that energy and it turns it into money.
Yeah,
it turns it into the scarcest, hardest money that ever exists.
So what I see is a lot of different verticals starting to get integrated with Bitcoin mining. Mm-hmm. Heat reuse for heating greenhouses in the winter, or tilapia ponds, whatever it is, right? And so yeah, it's a really exciting time.
And in Africa, there's
Grid, like what Gridless is doing.
Yeah, Gridless is a perfect example, right? areas that literally there would never be an investment there to provide power for communities. It just wouldn't make sense. They wouldn't do it because
Right.
the community is not going to use enough power to pay for the thing, right? But now they can put that facility there, and they can take 5% of the power, give it to the people when they need it, and the other 95% that's never utilized, they can sell to a consumer who's going to consume it 24/7.
Exactly.
And ROI that project, that green energy little dam they built there, the little hydroelectric thing on a river or whatever. And then guess what? Now this community of people have power. They have they can have clean water. They can have electricity, right? So fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So I think it's just going to integrate with everything in the future. And I even thought at one time, maybe even every single electronic device that's connected to the internet in the future could possibly be mining Bitcoin. The chips are going to be so small.
Yeah.
Why not? Like when you're not using a device, why not just be mining with, your electronic device?
Did you see the guy ride the little miner?
Yeah. Solo mining?
Solo mining.
With a bit axe.
Some tiny little small device.
Yeah. It's called a bit axe. Yeah. But so interesting projects like this. So we're actually going to be featuring these types of things at my upcoming conference. So earlier we were talking about different things that we were into. My very first conference was in Round Rock, Texas in 2022. Bitcoin was pumping. It was awesome. Second conference, it was during a bear market.
It's funny.
Everybody was walking around kind of sad, but it was still a very great experience. But that was called Scott's Mining Conference. I just wanted everybody to know whose conference it was. But now we renamed it as the Mining Conference.
The Mining Conference.
And so that's actually coming up this fall in Minnesota this time.
You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, so September 27th to 29th, we'll be doing the mining conference again.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Any closing thoughts that you have? Anything that you're excited about for the next couple of years? Anything you think is going to be a challenge for the Bitcoin community over the next 4 years?
Yeah. No, I mean, mentioning cycles, it really is that 4-year cycle, especially even with Bitcoin miners. There's always a time to buy, and a time to sell. Maybe not necessarily buy and sell your crypto, but there's always a time to buy or sell your Bitcoin mining equipment.
Yeah.
Right. So with Bitcoin mining, really, it's a 2-year cycle. So you always have to be thinking, within this next 2-year period, should I be buying miners, and then waiting for that next 2 years for the Bitcoin price to go up or down, according to the 4-year cycle, and then when to buy your new gear and offload your old gear. So that's something that I'm always thinking about, just as a Bitcoin mining equipment broker, is when to get in. It's not always the best time to get in.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. How do you see? Because I know every 4 years, we're having and the inflation gets cut in half. Do you see a point where history doesn't repeat itself and it's really just doesn't affect things as much as it has now that we've got ETF and institutional demand coming in? I mean,
right.
Are things going to change? What do you think?
I think when I think about Bitcoin like that and how the whole thing works, it's a self-balancing mechanism, right? So difficulty goes up, price goes up, difficulty goes down.
Genius with how he designed
the
system.
It's just this elastic thing, right? Yeah. So I think in the future, that difference between the cost of production and the highest highs that Bitcoin price could go, it's narrowing, right? Mm-hmm. So it is going to get more competitive. It's going to get harder. There's going to be low, not as low lows and not as high highs, and it's going to get more competitive as time goes on. So just you got to keep that in mind and understand that it is a 4-year cycle, but that band is tightening over time, I think.
Yeah,
so
you're right. I think you're right. I'm excited about the future. Thank you so much for coming to talk to me.
Thank you.
Good to see you, bud.
All right, Maddie.